Elizabeth Atieno is a victim survivor, justice and reparations advocate. She has lived through that experience and she has been advocating for justice since then. We've been told how many years later? 18 years later. For 18 years, the pursuit of justice has now come to an end. Elizabeth is our guest now, and she's going to give us her story. Elizabeth, good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Thank you so much.
Karibu sana.
Thank you.
We start the conversation by Mariam giving you the day's quote, some words that were said by somebody, and let's see if they make sense today.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. So today's quote comes from a revolutionary leader from Guinea-Bissau. His name was Amilcar Cabral. And he said, "A struggle is not something you pick up and drop at will. A struggle is not something you pick up and drop at will." Agree?
Do I really agree with that? A struggle is not
Something you pick up and drop.
at all. What about what if you get tired, and maybe the zeal is not there anymore and the fire dies? You know,
Fair.
what do you do?
Do you recharge or do you drop
Do you
the struggle?
recharge? It now depends with you, with your value, with what you believe in, with what you stand for.
True.
And I wouldn't say that dropping it means that you failed. It means you tried all you could, and maybe nobody was listening. Because, for instance, we have been talking to three governments, to the Kibaki government and Raila, Uhuru government, and now to the Ruto government, which I can tell you for sure doesn't want anything to do with the post-election. You know, one time we went to a certain with a colleague. We went to a certain government official because we have been seeking audience with the president for the longest time, you know. And then when we got to her, do you know what she told us? She said, "Kama mnataka kukosana na huyu mtu, mwambie hiyo story." You get what I'm saying? Kama mnataka kukosana na huyu mtu,
Mwambie hiyo story.
Hiyo kitu ilimpea stress sana. Don't ever mention that to him. If you want to see the president, go with something else.
But not that.
But not that. So what something else do I go with?
And this is...
What something else? Tell me. What something else do I go with? I was during the 2007 elections. I was 16. I was 16. I didn't even have a voter's card. I didn't even have an ID, leave alone a voter's card. I didn't even have an ID to give me access to have a voter's card. But because of, I always say, I was sexually violated because of my ethnicity, you know. And at that time, we all know, if anybody can relate, the tribe's ethnicity was against another ethnicity, right?
Yeah.
And it was, we do this to you to punish some certain people, your tribe. We do this to punish your tribe. I was not involved, but whatever happened to me, it happened to me because they wanted to punish someone higher. And I don't understand, because you hurt me, you harm me to punish someone whom I maybe I've never met, I've never seen, I'm not related to that person. You want to punish somebody whom his children or her children maybe are outside the country. I've got nothing. Somebody who has I've got nothing to do with.
Yeah.
Elizabeth,
you know.
let me ask you your story, all right?
Yep.
So in December 2007, of course you were not a voter.
I was not.
When people were voting, where were you?
I remember.
In which part of Kenya?
I was here in Nairobi. So I was in at that time, that that constituency was called Kasarani in Riverside. So on 25th, I was with my cousin. I was at my cousin's place. There was a celebration there. Then I went to a family friend's place, and I stayed there until the 27th when I was headed home because there was already tension. But when I was leaving, I didn't know that already the violence had escalated, and it was not on 27th, but on 31st. Now is when I stayed there. Then I was leaving to go home on 31st. I remember at around evening. But then unfortunately the elections were announced while I was going at my stepmother's place, and that is how I met my ordeal.
So what happened?
I was walking. I was at the bridge somewhere crossing, and then I just bumped, and then I was running, and then there were shots, and then there were noises. So much was really happening at the same time, and then.
Let me slow you down. What bridge were you crossing? Which area of Nairobi were you
it's called Riverside. So there is a bridge that there is the Nairobi River that separates Riverside and Kariobangi North. You know, so I was crossing to go to Kariobangi North, where my stepmom used to stay, and then I bumped into a group of men, and what I don't understand up to date is that these men were carrying weapons that I would see very clearly that were very new. They were carrying pangas, axes, clubs. They had all sort of weapons, and they were new. I recall they were new, because if today you give me you come with a machete and put it here, you would see clearly it has been used or it has never been used. You know.
Yeah.
So they were armed with very new weapons, and you know, when I bumped into them, one of them just greeted me like a barrier black beauty, and I had panicked, and I thought I had replied back, but I didn't, because I was in serious shock. And then they greeted me in a tribe that I wouldn't want to mention, and I could not reply back. You know. Then I remember just being hit at the back of my head, and I passed out. And I remember the following day, it was still dark, I think. I remember, and I found myself by the river, and I was naked, and I was in serious pain, and I was bleeding, and so much was really happening to me. And actually, at first, I thought it was a dream, you know, but unfortunately, it was not. And so, yeah.
How did you get help after coming to and finding yourself by the river, naked in pain?
There was a house, I remember, by the river, almost not very far, and I was crying. And then there is this woman that came and helped me kidogo, and then she just disappeared, because she was also running away, because she was from the opposite ethnicity. And then, so when I didn't have the strength to walk, like sikukuwa na nguvu at all. But then so much had happened. When now it was, the day had broken, when it was daybreak now, there were bodies, houses were burnt, there were bodies almost everywhere. And I would say, if it is estimated that 1,000 people died, I think it's more than that. It's more than that.
This is just on that river, along the Nairobi River.
Yes, that is in Kariobangi North now.
And
so much had happened, and at that time, who would you tell that that is what happened to you? I had nobody to tell that, because people were really into their own sorrows. People had lost their their loved ones. People had lost their properties. So much was really happening, and if anything, I didn't know how to get access to hospital. I didn't know how to get access to the police because the roads were barricaded. Because you are living in this area, and this is the area of your ethnicity. So for you to get to the police station along the road is the area of the other ethnicity.
So you essentially you're stuck.
Definitely. So there was no way you could get help. You have money, but the people had money at that time, but you cannot buy anything. The shops were looted. You know, you cannot buy anything. Literally, you're just stuck in one place.
So you weren't able to get medical help?
Not at all. Not at all. And that out of that, I got pregnant. Yeah. And it just changed my life up to date. It did. And you know, what really hurts so much is that nobody has ever acknowledged even a simple acknowledgement of people who suffered harm that is not visible from the outside. You know, because people talk about IDPs, right?
Yeah.
People talk about the people who are killed, but people don't talk about the women who went through sexual violence. And people don't talk about the children who were born out of that, you know. And this is, I say it, and this is where we go wrong as a nation. Because tell me, how will you ever convince my daughter that there is a system that is working in this country? Tell me. You know, she told me, Mama, now I want to write a petition to the Senate and ask them why they have refused to reparate your life, why they have totally refused to give you justice. She's underage.
Yeah.
But I am seeking ways of how to do that. But it's something that she really wants to do. But now, what I'm trying to put across is that is just one of so many youths that have got so much happening within them, of they've seen so much happening to their families, to their mothers, to their fathers, you know, and nobody is addressing that. And that one brings the bitterness in them.
It does.
The depression. The other day I saw, I don't know if it is true, but I saw something like the Gen Zs are giving the coordinates of the State House. I don't know if it is true, I don't know if it is a rumor, but I asked myself, why would someone want to do that? To give the coordinates of the State House to the Iranian military, as State House being a base of the US and the Israeli. I don't know if that is true, but the deep question within me is that why would someone want to do that? Why? Because there are so many issues that are unresolved, right? And there's been so many missed opportunities that the government, before this government and the other governments could have used to address the so many issues that are really ailing our country, but they never did.
And I want to get into what your push has looked like through these successive governments, but just before, you've said it so clearly that the official number is 1,133.
Yep.
You suspect it's a lot more,
Could be.
from what you saw.
Could be.
Because this is just Kariobangi North.
Yep.
And you saw the scale of destruction there.
Yep.
Walk me through after. You said, you know what, finding medical help is a rumor because you're going through what I would say hostile territory if you were to try and go to a police station or to a hospital. Walk me through what was happening in that community at the time, then people, I can't ask for estimates, but if you could, just within Kariobangi North, if you know how many people were displaced, how many lost their lives, how many were assaulted. And I can't ask for numbers.
I don't know. I don't have the numbers exactly.
Yeah. But
I would say people who suffered harm were so many. You know, because I would say of like 4 incidents that I saw people getting killed, but by my own ethnicity, because they were of the opposite ethnicity. You get what I'm saying? By my own people. And if you try to defend, you
become the enemy.
You will be branded as the enemy within. So people are really helpless. Like, you know, some people knew too well this was not right, but people are really bitter.
Yeah.
People are really bitter. People, hey, someone would just want to do something. I think it was just about to relieve yourself and get that thing that was burning inside you out, you know. And not just in Kariobangi North, you know, within the years, I've worked with a lot of people from different parts of the countries that went through the post-election violence, and people tell very crazy stories of what happened. I remember there was a time a lady was giving a testimony of how in hospital there was a woman from ethnicity A who had a serious cut, who had a serious wound on her head, and then she went to hospital to get stitched. So the nurse is from ethnicity B. So she shaved the hair, then took the hair and inserted it inside the wound, then stitched it. The unprofessionalism that was being experienced at that time, the same with the police stations. The people who assaulted women sexually were not just militia. They were not just civilians. If you go through some reports, the Waki report, the TJRC report, there was reports from civil society, and specifically a report that I participated in was a Human Rights Watch report. There were so many reports of the post-election. A very good number of cases of sexual violence were committed by state agents. I have worked with women who were sexually violated at the police station in Nairobi, not any other part of the country, in Nairobi. Yeah. You would go to a police station, and because you are from ethnicity B and the police is from ethnicity A, he would tell you, unakuja hapa kuleta kesi gani? Wewe unaona nchi venye inafanana? Wewe watu wameuliwa, wewe unakuja kusema mtu alilala na wewe. To deal na hiyo sahi. And that is why most of the cases you are asking me about access to services, to medical services, and to justice. And because you cannot get justice without reporting to the police, right?
Yeah. Yep.
You know?
Yeah.
For me to get my case to court, I must have an LB, right? How would I get that? And that is how a lot of perpetrators walked scot-free. Because number one, I could not access. And if I ever accessed, I would be denied to get my statement to that occurrence book.
Or risk reviolation.
Exactly. And if you remember well, the then IG, can't recall his name, but he admitted to breakage of command. There was breakage of command. No, police were not taking even orders. They were out there doing their own things now. Now they did put their profession aside, and now it was now a matter of your ethnicity is against my ethnicity, your tribe is against my tribe. And this one was even practiced by medical practitioners in various hospitals. You were sexually violated, you go to hospital simply because you come from ethnicity M and I come from ethnicity Z. I was like, get out of here. I am never touching you.
And these are people who've told you these stories.
So many, yeah.
People that you've met.
These are real. I'm not. Hii story ya jaba. Hizi ni story real zenye zilifanyika in this country that people have forgotten so quickly, and we are told to forget and move on. And I ask all the time. I remember after the ICC cases collapsed, there was a very big Thanksgiving service at the Afraha Stadium in Nakuru. And the message was very clear. Cases zimeisha, we move on. Now you tell me, how do I move on? How do I move on? And I have a child in my house. Tell me, how do I move on from that? Show me, teach me. Actually, the government should teach me how to move on and how to forget. The government should teach me how to do that, because I can tell you for sure, I have no knowledge, I have no experience of doing that. I have no wisdom, I have no understanding whatsoever to move on and to forget. Mimi hiyo sina. I don't have that experience.
Haujui.
Mi sijui. I don't know.
Tell me, Elizabeth, so this is a 16-year-old young girl who is going back home, and this happens to her on this day. And then later you find out that you're pregnant. And 17 years later, you have raised your girl. And the way you've said it, she knows that this is what happened. At what point did you tell her? And how did you tell her?
Yeah, thank you so much for that question. It is a very important question that I could have forgotten, because every time I start talking about this and the lack of seriousness the government has refused to address this issue with, I get very angry, you know. But it was never an easy journey. It was never an easy journey, I can tell you for sure. And after all that happened, I was very young and naive, so I got into another relationship. I got into a marriage, and it was very abusive. And what happened to me was that that guy used to remind me that he's doing me a favor, and would abuse me so much. And these days, sometimes I sit and I think of the things that I used to go through, and I ask myself, kichwa yangu ilikuwa mzuri kweli? You know, you know when you're wearing dirty clothes, you might not be aware until you remove it and look at it, and you're like, hey, mimi ndo nilikuwa nimevaa nguo seriously. You get what I'm saying? So I sit down, and sometimes I sit down and ask myself, hey, hata saa zingine tunapiganga story na my children, wananiambia kama mimi manze hatukukuwa serious. Ama alafu my daughter normally tells me, unajua mimi nilikuwa nashindwa ni nini mtu alikuwa anakufanyia kwa akili yako. You get it? Because the children could also just see clearly that this is abuse. Serious, gross abuse. And I'm just there. Yeah? You know, one time my daughter was telling me, and my son were telling me, unajua mlikuwa mkianza kupigana mama tunaanza kufurahi, tunasema at least leo you will come into your senses and live. Ikifika usiku tena tunaona mnaanza kufuatana, you know. Anyway, so now what happened is that time came. There is always that time. Time came, and it was just time for me to just say no. And I said no, and it was very bad. It was very bad. I ended up with some stitches on my mouth, but that's story for another day. So this one also really affected my children so badly. And then my daughter Brooklyn was it really affected her. And when she went to school, she tried committing suicide, and then the school had to release her back home. So one time, I remember I was with working with an organization called Grace Agenda that has made a serious impact in my life. With the leadership of the director, Jacqueline Mtero, it really impacted. She really impacted me so widely, you know. And I give credit to her because it is because of Grace Agenda and her that I'm able to sit on this seat today and be able to talk the way I'm talking now. Though I'm not there anymore, but it really impacted me. You give credit where it's due.
Yeah.
So now we got an opportunity to work in a project with an organization called DocuBox. So DocuBox was trying to get stories about mental health and reproductive health. And I remember a very good comrade, a very strong ally called Naitore Nyamu. She works with Global Survivors Fund. She connected us with that organization. And then so we went. So the organization explained to me what they would want how they would want me to participate, to share your story, blah, 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 you know. So an idea came to me, and I shared with the director, Jacqueline. And I told her, you know, my daughter is really growing up, and I'm worried that one day she'll get to hear this from somebody else.
Right.
That will be a nightmare, you know. So for me, I would want her to get it from me rather than getting it from somebody else.
Yeah.
You get it?
Yeah.
So yeah, she said, yeah, this is it, and she really supported me. And we got the opportunity of doing a documentary. It's called Before 16. So that documentary is with me and my daughter, me sharing with her my ordeal and my story.
How old was she?
15. Yeah.
Hence the title Before 16.
Before 16. And she was headed 16. I'm telling you, that is one of the very emotional moments that I've ever seen. It was so emotional. She really broke down, and it was quite a heavy moment for us. And now we started the journey to recovery, to reconciliation, because I can tell you it was not easy, and I'm not an angel. So bringing up Brooklyn was not a walk in the park. At some point, we had to be separated because I just didn't know how to deal with all of that. I just didn't know how to deal with that pain.
Yeah.
And deal with her at the same time. So I can tell you for sure,
It wasn't easy.
it wasn't easy. And she went through so much under my watch and under me, you know. So an organization called MCF, Madele Children Funds by Nairobi, with Titus, thank you so much. And Rich really supported me and took Brooklyn to a boarding school at that time. And it gave me time to think things over until she came back and we started living together after I broke free from that crazy, mad place. And yeah, so we started the journey to recovery and reconciliation, and we've been doing it till now.
Let me, first of all, I'm just holding like a lot of grace for you, because you've dealt with a lot with very little support. And I'm trying to figure out if at any point the support did come in any form. You're pushing now for reparations for you, for your daughter, because she's old enough to understand now. But at any point in the last 18 years, has government come, offered psychosocial support, offered physical support, offered housing, offered education, offered reparations, anything?
Never.
Not one.
And I don't think they'll ever do that. There's never been goodwill. There's never goodwill of any sort whatsoever. And it's quite sad that we take it lightly when people are harmed and are hurt, when people are killed, when people are maimed, when people are sexually violated, when people lose their property. And we treat it like it's business as usual. We talk about it, we forget, we move on. What we don't ask ourselves is, do those people move on?
Yeah.
Do those people move on ever? I'm telling you, if there was goodwill from government, people could have received reparation a very long time ago. You know, so much was really invested in the TJRC report, in the Waki report. And I'm telling you, you should go through the TJRC report. Those people sat down. That commission, it did well. They gave, so this is how it is. It was
structured.
It was structured. So there is the violation, the harm suffered. There is the recommendation. There is the duty bearer, the office that is supposed to foresee that recommendation. There was timeline. Tell me what was holding Uhuru back to implement that report. Tell me. Nothing. It was just, they just don't care. It doesn't matter. And this one, we have never learned a lesson. Because if there was a cost, you see, if the government would be willing to pay the costs of reparation, then there is no day the government will sit back and look at people talking the way I've seen people talking the way they want. The other day, while ODM was in Kisumu, I saw a former MP talking about linda wananchi wakikuja hapa, and he was talking in Luo. Tutakuzindikisha Zayuni, sijui si to blame. Then the ODM leadership was there seated, very quiet. Nobody stood up to
challenge or to stop.
Challenge that or to stop, you know.
Very true.
And you want to tell me you're going to have peaceful elections? That is a dream that will not come, might not come true. Because if you ever, if you've studied monitoring and evaluation, Mimi, I've monitored the past 6 months in this country, and I've done an evaluation, and I've given a verdict.
What's the verdict?
The verdict is, if proper measures are not put into place to tame politicians and the hot political temperature in the country, then 2007 will be a walk in the park in 2027. I'm telling you.
Do you think, because there is the one part, the duty bearers, the government and all the politicians. So clearly, as you've said, the politicians are running away from this, from responsibility, because it has a political cost to them. The rest, they don't really care. It costs to taxpayers. No, it's never really an issue for them. It's a political cost to them, right?
Yep.
But below that, do you think the Kenyan society gets it? Do you think the Kenyan society knows or remembers or cares to think about what Elizabeth and others are going through today as a result of what happened 18 years ago?
There is this musician called, he's late, Kaberere, and he used to sing, wanajua ni kulenga tu, si ndio? Wanajua, they know, ni kulenga tu. So, we know too well, because tunalenga, we know too well.
Basically, your neighbors, people
know,
that you grew up
people know, ni kulenga tu.
Kwa nini tunalenga?
Tunalenga juu ija kufikia bado.
Please repeat that.
Exactly. Let me tell you.
Please repeat that.
Tunalenga jija kufikia bado. Let me tell you. When I was bringing up Brooklyn, when Brooklyn was young, I would talk about teenagers wenye wanasumbua wazazi wao. At that time. Sasa niko na teenager kwa nyumba. Siku hizi mimi husema tafadhali. wazazi mimi nasema tafadhali ukiona mzazi
Yeah.
analea teenager, achana na huyo mzazi, achana na huyo mama, achana na huyo baba, na wewe usiongee. Don't talk about. Do you know life? Let me tell you, life has taught me so much. You know, mimi nilikuwa unajua unaweza ongelelea ule waliachana hata na bwana yake. Please usiongee juu kesho utamko utajipata uko single.
Yeah.
So hizi vitu ni it hasn't gotten to you, it hasn't knocked at your doorstep. That is why it doesn't matter to you. But that day, ile reggae music ya nani, we are living in this crazy world that like Dube was saying, until that man in the long dark coat knocks at your door, utawaijua ni nini. You will never have an understanding. You will know, but that day the day you'll experience firsthand, you will become an advocate. Why am I an advocate of reparations?
So
maybe I could, yeah, exactly, because maybe if it never happened to me, I would. Let me say this. I always believe if I was to finish school and get a very good education and get to university, I would become a very, very super lawyer, super journalist.
I can see it already.
You know,
very true. And to be honest, at the time, Misha, it's very viable. Please do.
So now, that was taken away from me, right? So now I am here advocating every day. Actually, I've been doing this half my life, Sasa. Half my life, imagine. Yeah. This is what I've been doing. You get what I'm saying? So with what you're asking, they know. They just know. Decide we don't care. And do you know why they don't care? Do you know why they don't care?
No.
And I want to say this with no fear of contradiction, with no doubt in me, that sometimes I ask myself, why do we complain? Why do we complain? Because the reality is, our leaders are a reflection of us. When you vote in that murderer, that rapist, that fraud, that con, people whom their images are mad with impunity, people whose their hands are full of blood, and you know too well, watu wamewaibia na wakipanda kwa podium tunawapigia makofi. Hao ndo tunataka, hao ndo tunapenda, because that is who we are. Sometimes I say, sometimes I just want to chill and just keep quiet, because hao ndio sisi.
Yeah.
Hao ndio sisi. Now, who votes? Who gets these people to that house?
It's us.
Who gets the president to State House?
Us.
It is us. Ni sisi. And we are given an opportunity, and we've got the best constitution in the world, because it gives you an opportunity of exercising that, of repairing that mistake.
Yeah.
Every 5 years. No, we don't use that opportunity. Bado huyo mwizi ndio mimi nataka. Unaona huyo muuaji?
That's the one I want.
Sasa hivi there are people who have got murder cases in parliament. Now they are going for even bigger posts, and they will get it. Watapata.
It's a reflection of us.
So that is a reflection. It is the reflection of us. So the reality is, the post-election of 2007, the post-election of, let us not forget 2017.
Yeah.
It was serious. Maybe it was just not given the limelight that it deserved, but it was serious. Or maybe because it was happening to a certain ethnicity, and it did not escalate, but it was serious, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
You know, all those, that is who we are. That is who we are. But let me remind ourselves, because I love my tribe. I love speaking in my mother tongue. It is said in the Bible, and I love putting it in my mother tongue, Parnegiuru kataka gingiu. Yani, remind them even if they know. What I'm reminding our people is that let us never forget that every time there is bloodshed, that blood does not go anywhere. That blood will demand for justice, and it will demand for justice for years and years and years and years until that blood is had. So let us never think that when you walikufa sisi tumesahau. Those people are demanding for justice.
Yeah.
And I remember, that is why I got the opportunity last year to attend the ASP, Assembly of State Parties at The Hague. And I had the opportunity to speak. And I said that justice must be served to both the living and the dead. And I say that for a reason. You cannot tell me today that you killed my father, or you killed my mother, or you killed my husband, my sister, my brother, my uncle, my aunt, my cousin. And now you want to pretend like you are asking me for forgiveness and thinking that they are silent. No. Justice, if indeed justice has to be served, it has to be served both to the living and the dead. Yes.
I think one thing about, and I've said it on air before, being on this show and having conversations like this is realizing that essentially the foundation of our nation it's a graveyard of injustice, if we're being honest.
Yeah, it is.
All the way from colonial times, massacres, shifter wars, post-election violence, police brutality, coups, protests and killings. It keeps on piling and piling and piling. And we never heal, so we never fix, so we find ourselves in the same situation or something similar. I want to know why reparations are so important for you. And is that a form of justice?
Thank you so much for that question. Thank you. Reparations are important because through reparation, there is what we call redress. What is the meaning of the word reparation? Reparation comes from the word repair. What is the meaning to repair? To repair means, today, if I get a serious injury on this arm, it can be repaired, but it can never go back to the way it was. Meaning, it is an opportunity to do what was supposed to be done, and it was never done. It is an opportunity to say, this is what happened, and we know that we can never get you to where you used to be, but we can do this. Do you know why it is important? It takes that pain away, especially when it is done the right way.
What's the right way?
The right way is involving the people who have suffered that harm. That is the right way. I call it co-creation. It has to be justice has to be a co-created by duty bearers, by survivors and victims, by caregivers, by the community,
right,
by the society, and it has to be co-creation. What is justice? Ask me.
What is justice?
Justice is when I decide how I want redress to look like. That is what justice means to me. Because tell me, and sometimes I ask myself, when people were coming up with courts and the police stations and the justice, let me just say the justice system.
Yeah.
Do they consider asking or maybe carrying out a survey or maybe doing a research of asking somebody whom their relative was killed by somebody what justice would mean to them? Because sometimes I look at justice and I'm like, hey, ikitu iko, hii ni justice kweli? Tell me, if today the perpetrators of who sexually violated me are caught, and then they are taken to prison. So how is that justice? How is that justice?
What would justice look like for you?
For me, justice looks like when I'm given the opportunity to reclaim back my life. That is justice to me. When I talk about reclaiming back my life, I'm given an opportunity to go back to school. I'm given an opportunity to recover the years that were taken from me. When my child is now the responsibility of the state. And people would ask, why do we ask, and the government would even ask, because one day a politician asked me that, why do mnaulizanga hii serikali hizi vitu kwa nini? I just told him, because the government had the duty to protect its civilian at that time, and it failed.
Yeah.
It did.
We have police, we have security agents. They were supposed to protect us at that time, and they failed. So with your question, reparations will stop a lot of things. You see the things that we saw in 2024, the finance bill, what we saw last year again, that tells you that so much has happened and it has never been taken care of. And that is why you had a Gen Z wanasema muangaishe maguka zetu, muangaishe baba zetu, then mkuje kutuangaisha. We will never give you an opportunity for
Imagine.
It ends there.
It has to end.
It has to end somewhere, right?
That book, it ends with us. It
Exactly.
ends with us.
So reparation would clear that. Do you know that there are people who, for example, during the colonial era and independence era, did we ever get independence? No, we never did. We never did. And that is the truth of the matter. You know, back then when I was a child, I used to say, hey, Kenya ni nchi iko huru. Huru gani? Hakuna nchi iko huru hapa. Hapa hakuna nchi iko huru. Let me say this. This is what happened. It was just the colonial system that was now handed over to the internal. People tukaona mtu wa rangi yetu sasa natuongoza. Sasa sisi tumepata uhuru. Hakuna uhuru because now I read a lot and I research a lot and I've gone deep into the stories of the colonial, what happened to Baimungi and the generals of the Mau Mau. My goodness, is that what we call freedom?
It can never
That
be.
was no freedom, and I can tell you, there is a generation growing up. Do you want to tell me the Kimathi generation, the children, the grandchildren? Tell me, what kind of bitterness are they growing up with in their hearts? The JM family, that generation. You want to tell me those people, they're just okay, knowing too well that your father was killed because he was trying to speak against something.
Right.
Elizabeth, thank you. Thank you for being vulnerable and telling us your story. But also thank you for showing us your strength, because that's what you've also shown us, your strength and how you've been able to navigate this. And as you're pursuing that justice, how you're challenging us that justice is not just a battle for you, it's for all of us.
Yeah.
Because all of us have got to join this cause for demanding that those issues be addressed, not just for the sake of Elizabeth and the very many thousands of others, but also for our own sake. Because like she said, haijafika kwako bado.
Kweli. Bado.
They yet beat. They yet beat. I have very many questions. I wanted to ask you, so what happened? How did you didn't go to school? You keep saying you didn't go to school, but that's another day.
Ask me.
We will invite
But
you.
I read a lot and I research.
Yes.
Time yetu imeishia hapo.
Time yetu imeishia hapo. And just to mention that, like I said to you before, that there are a lot of people who did believe in me and really invested in me so much. And I like practicing gratitude every time I got an opportunity. So just 1 minute to just say thank you to a lot of people who have rallied behind me. And first of all, let me start with Grace Agenda, Jacqueline Tere.
Yeah.
Oh, that woman. She did well. She believed in me when nobody did. When nobody did. When I was, there was a time, if I'm given an opportunity to speak, I'll just shout, and then sit down. Because I was still
So
in
much
pain.
pain,
Yeah. But she really invested in me, believed in me, gave me platforms, gave me an opportunity, and she did well. Thank you, Grace Agenda. There is Agatha Ndonga of ICTJ. That girl, God bless you, Ags. God bless you so much. There is Kasiva Muli. So Kasiva Muli is this girlfriend that wakes up in the morning, sees an opportunity, pale wanataka watu wa PhD, then she sends me.
Apply.
Apply here, you know.
We all need people like that in our lives.
So she's a I call her the cheerleader of the squad.
Yes.
There is Yvonne Oyeke. I call her Dola. I call her Nyangi Dola. She knows that very good support system. There is Naitore Nyamu. Thank you so much. And there are very many people, personal friend Susie. And then there is Teddy wa Arsenal. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
very
Elizabeth.
good people. And then there is definitely Brooklyn and Gabi, my children.
Yes.
Sasa ndio wenye serikali.
Wakusema.
All the best.
Thank
Asante sana.
you.
Asante
Thank you.
sana.
And thank you for practicing gratitude as well, like live on air. It's incredible to see, and we're very grateful for
How
you.
can I forget Tina Alai? My goodness.
Okay. Tina, umeambiwa asante.
We've got to end it there.
We have to stop.
Elizabeth Atieno.
Thank you.
She's a justice and reparations advocate for the 2008 post-election violence, but also for all injustices in this country. See you tomorrow. Have a lovely day. Coming up next is Your World on NTV, and of course, Brian and
Claudia on Vibe Shift.
on
Vibe Shift.
Very good.
Meskia 96.3 Nation FM. Tupatane kesho.